that.
I don't like it. It's 50 is 50.
Yeah,
Let's show them what 50 is.
yeah. Well, we're out here kicking some ass on this mountain. That's
Yeah,
for
we
sure.
are. Yeah, we are. And since the ski accident, every Spartan race I run, Jim, is Michael's Celebration of Life tour.
Yeah.
And I've just dedicated my life to encouraging people and building people up. That's what I did when I was a yo-yo guy. That's what I will do on the Spartan courses. That's what I do with helping people find jobs in downtown Seattle. My heart and my passion is the same. The tools are different, whether it's a yo-yo, a Spartan race, or the opportunity to give someone a job. And you and I both know the greatest one among all of us is the one who serves the most and helps others, and I'm endeavoring to live that out because it's a life-giving, energizing way to live.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, everybody knows that we founded Baja United Wine Group based on living with purpose and donating to the orphanages, and it feels great. And I'm very blessed to be where I'm at. And it's one of the things that I love about doing this podcast is learning other people's stories and sharing that with, people that are willing to listen. And I just think it's amazing. So thank you for sharing your story. I have two more quick questions for you.
Shoot,
and we'll get back to this wonderful evening here in Big Bear. One micro thing that maybe you're just fanatical about right now, that like the simplest things, whether it's a new jacket, pair of shoes, or a TV show. Is there anything that you're really passionate about right now besides Spartan racing? Because I know you're crazy about that.
Just passionate about in my life in general,
yeah,
in business.
Yeah.
So I'm going to write a book, Jim.
Okay.
I'm passionate about writing a book, and I don't have a clue about how to do it. And it freaks my brain out a little bit. It's like my personal identity doesn't align with the idea of being an author. And so I've just put it out there for your listeners to hear, so there's a level of healthy accountability.
I love that.
But I'm passionate about it, and I believe for the right reasons, because I think I have a good story to tell that can make a difference in the lives of others.
Sure.
So I just want my story to be out there to help the people that it can. So
I love that, and thank you for sharing that on our show, because that's huge. And when the book comes out, we're going to celebrate on the show too.
Right on.
Okay, so last question. Any advice for people that are listening, in a nutshell? You've got a variety of age groups listening to the show, but I think we've got a lot of executives out there too. So any last-minute advice for people to think about?
Well, leaders. It comes down to leadership, whether you are a spouse, a husband, or a wife, or a partner, a business owner, a manager, a teacher. You have opportunities to influence the people within your sphere.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say that there are a ton of great books, there are a ton of great techniques out there, but this isn't always the most popular subject in business, Jim. But I would say there's a dearth of love in our society today. Things are pretty tense in America.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say that as leaders, in whatever context, we need to learn how to love the people that are in our influence. And that means learning their love language, taking the time to listen to them and figure out what really makes them tick, and then give that to them.
Mm.
And I've just seen people blossom in that kind of a relationship when I take that posture with individuals. So I would say explore what love looks like in your context. And if you can't do that, then you need to start with yourself, because, love your neighbor as yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you need to start with loving yourself and getting some help. Maybe you need to go see a counselor, figure out your issues, get that worked out so that you're freed up to serve others. And I think some of your listeners might be in that place, and some listeners might be ready. They'll go, oh, yeah, you know what? I hadn't thought of that. It's time to love. It's time to put your love on. So I would ask people to consider what love looks like in their context, because our society needs it, our world needs it, and that's what changes people. That's what's changed me.
Yeah, awesome. Well, we went from yo-yos to a really, really great piece of healthy advice, so thank you for sharing that, because I couldn't agree with you more. So thank you for being on the show, man. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't do a lot of homework besides our brief conversations that we've had, getting to know each other the last couple months from a distance. But, man, I really appreciate you sharing your story, and I think that our listeners will enjoy it too. So So thanks, and I hope everybody
Well,
enjoyed it
Jim,
tonight.
you know what's funny is that if I didn't say yes to picking up a couple of hitchhikers,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been on your podcast today.
A couple of muddy hitchhikers. I think you
That's
said, you
right.
know what? I'm in a rental. I'll get these two fools. Right on. Well, thanks for coming out and being on the show. And we're going to get back to our wine. And by the way, tomorrow, man, we're going to be rubbing elbows, battling out on the Spartan course because we're competitors tomorrow morning.
That's right, dude. You better get some sleep.
I love it. All right, man. Thanks. All right. Well, that was a lot of fun for me. We really were out on the patio in Big Bear, sipping on wine, enjoying the stars and the snow on the mountain. We had enjoyed a great meal, and we were looking forward to racing. So, yeah, thank you so much, Michael, for being on the show. If you didn't catch it, that man did 24 races last year, Spartan races, which was it consisted of 10 sprints, 7 supers, and supers are in that 8-mile range, 6 beasts, which is in that 12 to 15-mile range, and 1 ultra. That's a 30-mile race. That's actually the race that I'm training for right now, is to gear up for racing the ultra in Lake Tahoe at Squaw Valley in September, and that's going to be a 30-mile race. I think 60 obstacles. Anyways, what a pleasure to interview Michael and learn about his history, and I hope you pick something up from that interview. What I love is his ability to, he was forced to step aside because of his injury, but I love his ability to identify that was a key factor in the success and growth of his business, and he allowed his team to basically take over, and that was so incredible to me to hear him do that. And the proof of him doing that was how many races he ran last year after he stepped away. And I think what I especially like about Michael and getting to know him not only in the show but running into him at the races is I started racing Spartan races about a year and a half ago, and my wife and I recently made a conscious effort to meet some of these people we were running into again and again and getting to know them. And I just think it's fascinating, the people that you can meet just about anywhere if you take the time to reach out, say hello, shake a hand, ask a little bit about them, and get to know people. It's just the fascinating thing that we get to do as humans. And I just thank Michael for his relationship, and I hope to see him at the next Spartan race back up in September. And I love his drive for life. So thank you for that. Well, that's pretty much our show, and as I usually close with some quotes from some friends, David Meltzer, he always talks about having more than enough, and certainly after you listen to a show like Michael's interview, we all realize how much, or hopefully we can realize how much we have, and knowing that we have more than enough and celebrating in that every day, and that really does change your outlook on the rest of the day. And I've always been a believer in what you believe is what you will achieve by Mark Victor Hansen. Thank you for listening to the podcast. Just say yes. The answer is yes. Yes, yes, yes. And we look forward to bringing another show to you next week. I know I've got a couple interviews coming up that I'm really excited about. If you have not already, please download this show from iTunes. The answer is yes. Rate us. Share us with a friend if you've enjoyed it. And tune in next time. Thanks again.